the ongoing battle over SNAP, Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, benefits has left millions of American families facing a terrifying uncertainty. Will their November payments arrive in full, partial, or not at all? Following a major legal twist, the Supreme Court has temporarily paused a nationwide order that required the government to fully fund SNAP during the current shutdown. But before the decision took effect, several states had already moved mountains, processing and distributing full benefit loads onto EBT cards. This uneven rollout has created an unprecedented and chaotic situation. Depending on where you live, you may have already received your entire monthly allotment, only a small portion, or still nothing at all. For families who depend on SNAP to put food on the table, this confusion could not have come at a worse time. State agencies are now working overtime to clarify guidance from the U.S. Department of Agriculture, USDA, while recipients monitor their EBT apps daily. In this critical update, we'll detail which states are still paying full SNAP benefits, which have paused payments, and what's coming next for December. The legal roller coaster, why payments are frozen. In the first week of November, the Trump administration appealed a lower court ruling that had ordered the USDA to release full SNAP benefits despite the ongoing government shutdown. The administration argued that it lacked lawful authority to spend money not approved by Congress, citing the Anti-Deficiency Act. On November 8th, the U.S. Supreme Court granted a temporary stay, effectively freezing that lower court order while it reviews the case. This action halted the release of billions in SNAP benefits, even though several states had already initiated full dispersals. The government claims it lacks the estimated $4 billion required for full payments. However, critics point to existing contingency funds within USDA accounts, arguing that the appeal is an act of political leverage. The timing of the court's decision left state agencies in disarray, uncertain whether to stop, continue, or reverse the benefit uploads already underway. As a result, millions of Americans now face inconsistent access to food assistance, a stark reminder of how rapidly legal decisions can affect real families. The divided SNAP map. Who got paid? Amid the federal uncertainty, a number of states moved quickly to protect their residents. These states acted on the initial, now frozen, court order, prioritizing the households that rely on monthly food aid, states that confirmed issuing full November SNAP benefits before the Supreme Court block: California, Kansas, New Jersey, Washington, New Mexico, Hawaii, Oregon, Wisconsin, Massachusetts. These agencies worked extended shifts to process millions of transactions so funds could post by Friday, November 7th. Other states committed to full payments. Massachusetts verified all delayed payments were recredited to accounts by Saturday, November 8th. Colorado reported that about 32,000 recipients received full payments before the pause, though more than 560,000 others remain in limbo. New York promised full November benefits would reach cards starting Sunday, November 9th. New Hampshire, Arizona, Connecticut, and Minnesota said they would complete full payments over the weekend using state reserves. These examples show that many states decided to prioritize food security, choosing to act first and argue later. The pause. States where benefits stopped. Once the Supreme Court's order was announced, several states were forced to pause or reduce payments. North Carolina had begun issuing full benefits but stopped on Saturday, November 9th, leaving about 190,000 households receiving only $16 or less as a temporary hold payment. Updates depend on federal guidance. Texas had mixed reports, with some residents seeing funds while others reported empty cards following the pause announcement. Michigan provided a clearer assurance, confirming all recipients will eventually receive full benefits on their normal schedules. Alabama and Florida have remained silent, waiting for USDA instructions before releasing further payments. This patchwork approach underscores how fragmented SNAP delivery has become, where one state's families are shopping freely while another's are still waiting for their first dollar of aid. The Big Beautiful Bill, H.R. 1. New work requirements. While most states focus on getting payments out, Georgia has become the first to begin enforcing new federal work requirements tied to the Big Beautiful Bill Act, H.R. 1, passed in July 2025. Effective November 1st. Able-bodied adults without dependents must now work or participate in approved training for at least 20 hours each week to maintain SNAP eligibility. The Georgia Department of Human Services estimates that roughly 96,000 people out of 1.4 million SNAP recipients could eventually lose benefits because of this change. The new rules shorten recertification periods to every 4 months. The exemption for caregivers is tightened, now only applying if caring for a child 14 or younger, previously 18. Failure to meet the requirement limits eligibility to just 3 months within any 36-month period. Georgia's implementation acts as a pilot for the nationwide expansion expected by 2027 when H.R. 1 provisions push similar requirements across other states. The political showdown and Medicaid cuts. The legal fight quickly escalated into a political showdown. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer publicly condemned the administration's appeal, calling it pathological levels of vindictiveness to fight against food aid. He accused the White House of using the shutdown to punish ordinary Americans who rely on programs like SNAP. Beyond the immediate crisis, the structural changes continue. Under the Big Beautiful Bill, H.R. 1, Congress plans to cut $1 trillion from federal Medicaid spending over the next 10 years, starting in fiscal year 2027. Adults aged 19 to 63 would need to work, volunteer, or be enrolled in educational programs for at least 80 hours per month to maintain Medicaid eligibility. The exemption age for SNAP work requirements would also rise from 60 to 64. Advocates warn that these combined SNAP and Medicaid changes could remove millions from assistance roles nationwide by the late 2020s. The broader structural shift towards state-level control and stricter work enforcement will continue to reshape America's safety net programs. Action Plan: What You Must Do Now. For anyone currently depending on SNAP, the most important step is to monitor your EBT app or online state portal daily. Check your status. Payment statuses are changing rapidly. If your benefits have not arrived, contact your local Department of Human Services, but expect long hold times. Keep records. Keep screenshots and receipts of any benefits received or purchases made. These records could be crucial if the USDA later requires states to verify payments or reclaim funds. Georgia/early states compliance. If you are in Georgia or an early implementation state, immediately start organizing documents that prove work hours, training participation, or medical exemptions. Review your recertification schedule, as missing paperwork could automatically suspend your benefits. The next several weeks will determine whether the Supreme Court lifts the stay or upholds the administration's appeal, which will decide if full funding resumes. Meanwhile, December benefits hang in the balance, and millions of families are left planning their grocery budgets day by day.